The NBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by NYRA Bets. Bet the Kentucky Derby by using code SGPN25 for a $25 free bet plus a $200 deposit match bonus at nyrabets.com. So SGPN25 and start winning today. And welcome, everybody, to the NBA Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. It is currently Thursday morning, May 1st, around 11 a.m. Eastern Time. I'm your host, episode Scott Reichel, joined again by Lonte Smith, and together we're going to break down the two Game 6s for the Thursday card. Of course, before we get into that, though, do want to recap what happened yesterday. Had some action. Some teams got eliminated. We had two games. One of them was competitive throughout. One of them was pretending to be competitive in the fourth quarter, but it really was never competitive. Lonte, I'll ask you first. How's it going with you? Excited for the games today?
Yeah, man, I'm really excited. Hopefully we get to – playoffs have been really good so far. I think overall just been really entertaining, really good results. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to today. We got two good games, must wins for a lot of these teams, for both of these teams, home teams actually. So, yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it.
Yep, should be fun. I do want to quickly recap, though, what happened yesterday, starting off with, I think, the biggest piece of news we got to talk about, La Cancun, which is what happened with the Lakers yesterday. Normally I would go first, and I would be willing to kind of break the game down a bit more while talking about who's to blame, etc. But I'm not the Lakers fan here, so I'm going to let you go first. Any takeaways from the Lakers, either season ending or just Game 5 in particular? Anything you want to talk about?
I would rather not talk about the Lakers, and just because I know a lot of people are going to do that, like on the other shows and all these different publications. But I think it's better to talk about what the Wolves did and how well they played this specific series. They didn't particularly play well last night. Ant was 0 of 11 from 3. He had 15 points, and usually if you were to give me those numbers ahead of time, I would say the Lakers probably blow them out. But I think more credit goes to the staff of Finch and his staff, his coaching staff, and the players that they have in that locker room. I thought they did a great job of game planning from game to game. They only were, blasted in one game. They pretty much had control of the series from game one. So I would rather give credit to the Wolves rather than talk about the Lakers, who were just poor from the jump. They made it competitive, but the effort wasn't there. So
I thought they only made it competitive because the Timberwolves couldn't shoot.
And Jaden McDaniels and Julius Randle were in foul trouble. And yeah. They were getting the looks that they wanted. For one possession, they had like 5 looks at the basket and missed, all wide open. But yeah, I would rather give credit to the Wolves. Credit to them and their staff and the players, of course, for doing essentially what everyone, literally, mostly everyone, including myself, picked them not to do. So I was completely wrong about the series. Gobert turned into Kevin Garnett, so credit to him. And as much shit as he gets, he played an incredible game on both ends of the floor. Not just the 27 and 24 or whatever it was obviously impressive, but I thought he played really well defensively throughout the whole series. Pretty much, he was lackluster offensively for most of that series, but defensively he was pretty good. So I would credit to the Wolves, man. They did a great job. They put themselves in position despite their best player not having his best game, and they looked checked out in that third quarter. Like when that third quarter came, Lakers started to run. Ant shot 2 air balls. They had a turnover, or a bad turnover, and the Lakers cut it from 10 to I think 4. And it looked a little bit shaky, but they kind of got back on the boat. They were resilient. So credit to the Wolves, man. The Lakers, we could talk about them another time. They're really not worth talking about.
Yeah, see, that's your opinion. I'm going to talk about them right now because they just got eliminated, so I'm going to have to do it. But the way that I'll talk – okay, so I'll start off talking about the overall series. Minnesota was the better team. And the main issue that the Lakers ran into, besides the lack of a front court of actually quality players, they had no bench. And JJ realized as the series went on, I can't play any of these damn guys besides Vanderbilt. And at that point, you're putting a lot of mileage on Luka and you're putting a lot of mileage on LeBron. Luka battled some injuries during the game. Then he came back. He had a big third quarter. He was atrocious defensively the entire game. And I'll start off on that point because that was the main, you could argue, reason why Nico Harrison traded him in the first place. Now, I'm not going to tell you that Nico was right trading Luka. We did a trade reaction video at the time, right when the trade happened. And I believe the three of us, when we ended up recording, ended up having the same conclusion, which was we understand why they decided to trade Luka. They didn't want to pay him. But at the same point, the main issue was not shopping him around. I've had issues with Luka for a while, mainly how little defense he plays. It's very James Harden-ish because offensively, the guy's a monster. He needs the ball in his hands all the time. You're going to run an isolation-heavy style of play, which is fine. But you have to at least pretend you want to guard somebody. And when you're getting into these big playoff games, these games that are going to determine your season, because the Lakers, they might have lost series anyway, their season was on the line, and then Luka gets blown by 5 times in the first 5 minutes of the first quarter, it tells you that defensively he doesn't get the memo. And you could argue maybe it's because he's out of shape, maybe because he's injured, whatever the reason is. You need your players to buy in. And Luka, throughout his entire career, has never bought in defensively. And that's why Nico Harrison decided to trade him. Was he right to trade them? Not for that trade package, but I can understand why they decided to move on, because you're paying that guy a lot of money to not play defense. And that's definitely a problem. Now, to switch gears a little bit to LeBron, he's 40 years old. I understand what they're asking him to do has never been done before in the league, which is be a top 10, top 15 player in the league, despite being 40 years old. Having said that, he had 5 points in the fourth quarter yesterday. 2 of them were on a garbage time layup. You remember the logo three-pointer that he made in Game 3?
Yep.
What if I told you that those 5 points were the only 5 points he scored in the fourth quarter after that logo three-pointer?
Trust me, I've watched it.
Correct.
I watched it.
Just throwing it out there. You might remember when LeBron went on that heater at the end of Game 3, which they ended up losing anyway, but he did not score the final, basically 6 minutes of the fourth quarter of that game. Didn't score in the entire fourth quarter of the game after, and then scored 5 points yesterday in the fourth quarter. So after that logo heat check 3, LeBron scored 5 points in the fourth quarter in 30 minutes. That can't happen. That's something that can't happen. I got to throw that out there. Now, I understand you can make the argument that, he's still older. I get that. But when you are the leader of the team and you're supposed to be an all-time great player who basically needs you to carry them, at least in some possessions down the stretch, and you're not even missing shots, but you're just standing in the corner, deferring for most of these possessions, I'm going to call you out.
I mean, you're getting paid for it. So you're getting paid like you're getting paid to perform. You're not getting, if you were getting paid, Austin Reeves money, then okay, cool, whatever. But you're getting paid to perform and to shine in these moments, and you're not shining. That's the biggest issue.
Pretty much. And you could argue, once again, the age is going to be the main counter.
Yeah, I don't really bring up the age because when he's doing good, people point to the age as a asset, and now that they use it as an excuse. Which
you can't believe what he's doing at 40, and then he messes up. Well, he's 40 years old. What do you want from the guy? So he can't lose, basically.
You can't have
what you're saying. But
yeah.
Look, I'm fine if LeBron wants to go to the basket, miss some shots, and that is what it is. But you can't just defer on like 80% of these fourth quarter possessions when your team needs you the most in crunch time. That can't happen. So if LeBron was going to miss a three-pointer like he did later on, okay, you're going to miss some shots.
Right.
But you can't just stand in the corner and do nothing for most of those 30 minutes. And that might be why you think the Lakers lost. I thought JJ also had a really bad series. Now, I understand Minnesota was better than the Lakers. Subbing in Kleber for the fourth quarter of an elimination game after not playing for 3 months was actually hilarious. I thought that was really funny. I laughed really hard. Immediately missed the 3, stepped out of bounds. He did make 2 free throws, so I'll give Kleber props there, but everyone got mad at Kleber, and I'm just mad at JJ. Like, there's no way Jackson Hayes could be that bad. There's no way. You were throwing him out there for basically 4 minutes to start every single game. Kleber shouldn't have played. I understand if you want to make the argument that Kleber's spacing can give you some advantage or something. He had not played in 3 months.
Exactly.
Kleber was in no position to be on the basketball court, especially in crunch time. If you want to throw him in for the first quarter, sure, you'll see how he does. The fourth quarter of a close playoff game with your playoff lives on the line, he should not be on the floor.
Nope.
Like, that is insane to me.
I agree with you 100%.
Especially after the reporter incident where they asked him if he was going to rely on his assistant coaches for the, once again, subs in the fourth quarter. and then he brought in Kleber in the fourth quarter. And I thought that was hilarious. Like, I thought that was just really funny. But JJ, I thought, had a really bad series. You could argue it wouldn't have mattered because Minnesota was the better team. Finch was fantastic, though. I thought Finch did a great job. Shout out to Julius Randle, by the way.
Absolutely, shout out to him.
I thought helped carry offensively.
He did.
When Ant was struggling the entire game.
Efficient, too.
He was. And Randle made a big mid-range, like, half floater there while Ant missed a couple shots there. I got to mention, of course, the MVP of the game. The guy who should submit that entire game tape to his Hall of Fame candidacy, Rudy Gobert, who, in my opinion, played the best game of his entire career.
Absolutely.
Gobert, you could argue, once again, had to have a great game because the Lakers were using no center. The Lakers decided going into the game that if we go small and we dare Rudy to beat us, we'll take our chances. And Rudy said, bet, and actually played very well. 27 and 24 in a closeout game is actually filthy. And Gobert was great on both ends of the floor. Switched on to Luka a couple times, switched on to LeBron a couple of times. He turned them into jump shooters. I know Luka was compromised, not Gobert's problem. He's going to guard whoever was in front of him. Gobert played the best game he's ever played. And I want to give him props there. 27 and 24, I don't care who you're against. That is a big-time performance right there. And Gobert came through. So shout out to Gobert for finally playing the way we wanted him to play for about 10 years. And he came through. Hopefully that carries over into the next series against either Houston or Golden State. We'll see. Wanted to mention that. Nice job by Gobert. Nice job by Randle. Two guys that we had issues with in postseason basketball. They came through. So good for them. I got nothing else to add. I'm going to ask you for the sake of asking because LeBron fakes a retirement every offseason. I'm assuming we're going to see LeBron back next year?
He'll be back.
Okay.
No question. 100%. I believe.
I agree.
Yeah, I would lay a huge price that he's
usually back. You bring that up to divert people's, I'd say, focus from getting your ass kicked in the first round. It tends to be the LeBron maneuver. But I am going to ask you, though, as a Lakers fan, they need a center. Who would you want to see that's realistic? Because you're paying Luka, you're paying LeBron. Who would you want to go for? Mark Williams again, 2.0?
Realistically, I would look at somebody like you got to build it around Luka. And I think that obviously his defense is the main topic. But you saw what Jason Kidd was able to do with those two bigs on the floor and able to kind of hide him in between those half-court sets. So I think you got to get somebody athletic that's rim running. I actually like Claxton, even a Day'Ron Sharp. I know there's two guys that on your roster, but
I think Claxton makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
I'm not a big Claxton guy because offensively he can be quite annoying. Then again, my team can never score. They don't need Claxton to score. If he can just be a lob threat who can actually play defense, you could argue that stylistically, at least athletically, he's similar to Jackson Hayes, but he's also much better at basketball than Jackson Hayes.
Yeah, and you know what? I know it's probably not a popular opinion, but I kind of like Ayton. I don't know if they were able to get Ayton.
I don't know if he's good enough defensively to be the anchor they need.
But I think he can be because he was solid during that championship run. Now you can probably debate that they had the perimeter defenders with Bridges, and then CP was a little bit before his prime. But yeah, I think Ayton would work out fine. But just you need low maintenance bigs. I just still believe in the upside of Ayton. I mean, he's still young, so. But yeah, Claxton. Sharp would be two of the guys.
Do you think they pursue Mark Williams again? Do you think that ship has sailed already?
Maybe. Maybe. I think it's kind of like breaking up with somebody and then getting back with them the next day.
I'm just throwing out ideas because clearly Charlotte's willing to trade.
Yeah, I mean, you probably look at him, but I mean, he does have an extensive injury history, even dating back to like high school. So I don't know if you want to put those eggs in that basket. But yeah, I think somebody low maintenance. I would probably even kick the tires on somebody like Vucevic, who is not good defensively. But
that defensively is not going to work at all. I see Free Sauce mentioning Capella. That's kind of the guy I'm talking about. You need somebody though who can rim protect, and Vucevic is not going to rim protect.
Yeah, he probably can just draft somebody as well, develop them. I don't know the timeline of how they want to do things, but yeah, I mean they got a lot more problems than just that big. So. Yeah,
by the way, I looked up Claxton's contract. He is owed $25 million next year. It's the second year of a 4-year deal. So that's a decent amount of money for Claxton. We'll see what happens, but the Lakers need to make a move for a center. That was definitely apparent in that series. But props to Ant for leading the Timberwolves, not yesterday, but the entire series. Shout out to Randle, though, and Gobert for coming through.
Yep.
By the way, DiVincenzo was the worst player on the court last night besides Kleber. Wanted to mention that. I thought DiVincenzo was horrible, and they won anyway. Minnesota played basically their C game, and that was good enough to win.
Yep,
So
absolutely.
good for Minnesota
Yep.
in that one. I see Nathan saying Wendell Carter. That kind of guy is what I'm talking about. I'm not a Wendell Carter guy, but that does make sense.
He's not like he doesn't really fit. He doesn't really fit what Luka wants. Like, you got to just build it around Luka. Like, you saw the type of guys that Luka needs are like Gafford, Lively. Like,
honestly, Gafford would be a perfect fit, but that's just not
like
realistic.
they got to be able to just screen set, rim run, like be extremely versatile. I mean, they don't.
Can I give you a very injury prone option that makes sense?
Who's that?
Can I pitch to you Mitchell Robinson?
Nah.
No, I can't pitch you Mitchell Robinson.
Nah, it would be the same thing.
He's never healthy, but I'm just throwing it out there.
It would be the same thing. I was gonna say Robert Williams, like Tom Lillard, but
same exact idea.
Yeah, I can't do it. But
all right.
I mean, it's gonna be it'll be somebody. They'll get some. I mean, they'll get somebody, but we just don't know who it is right now.
Yeah. Point is though, they need rim protection.
Yeah,
that was a serious issue all series long.
They do.
Moving on to the next game though, not gonna spend too much time on it because the series is not over yet, but I still want to talk about it. The Rockets. They blasted Golden State. I thought they would win and cover. They did. The game got a bit interesting for half a second if you think the Warriors would have actually come back down 14 with 3 minutes to go. Golden State, though, pulled everyone with like 6 minutes to go in the third quarter. Do you think Golden State should have put the starters back in the fourth quarter when they cut it to like 15? My answer is no.
Yep.
I understand that it was a closeout game, but the truth is they were sitting on the bench for 30, 45 minutes, and your bench unit's the only reason why the game got close.
Mm-hmm.
I would have decided to ride the hot hand. Plus, I don't think they were going to win the game anyway.
Yep.
So I would have just let the young guys play, and hopefully the energy makes the game interesting. But I feel like people overreacted to that. Just going, we got to get Curry back in there. Honestly, you're not winning the game. Like, you might as well just let them rest and get ready for Game 6. I was fine with it. You have any thoughts on that? That's the first point that we can talk about the actual game.
Yeah, I agree with you. I just think you were playing with house money regardless. I mean, you got 3 chances to win one game. The game had got away from you, rightfully so. I think you did the right thing by pulling those guys. The bench played well. I think you were playing with house money then, because if you come back and win, you look like a genius for leaving them in. And if you come back, if you bring those guys back in and you lose, you look like an idiot. So I think he played it perfectly.
Yeah.
They preserved their energy, and I think what really helped was the Rockets brought their starters back in. And I mean, I know they're young and more athletic.
Well, Udoka panicked because it was an elimination game. He's like 14. What do I do? I'm like, you probably would have won the game anyway. But okay, sure.
Yeah. So I think it'll benefit them in Game 6. So to be honest, I laid the 5 with the Warriors as soon as that opened, because I think that plays a big part in it. Along with Jalen Green's knee injury, he was a shell of himself after that first quarter. I think he did the right thing.
Yeah, I do want, by the way, for the actual, I'd say, matchup itself, I'm not going to overreact to what happened in Game 5 moving forward. You might remember the Whoop That Trick game where Golden State lost by about 90, and they won the title.
Yeah.
Like, it's one game. I'm not going to overreact to them no showing a road game. I expected Houston to show up motivated, to show up ready to roll. They did. The Warriors just didn't match their intensity early on, and Houston scored 76 points in the first half. At that point, the game was over. So I think Houston played a great game. You could argue Houston should be winning this series. You can make the argument that a couple of games they lost were definitely up for grabs, and they were unable to close it out. Mostly Game 4. But the point is, Houston had a good game. They showed that they, can beat this team handily. Maybe the confidence boils over. At least Van Vliet remembered how to shoot. Thank God. It's been horrible against Golden State for years since the finals. He finally remembered how to shoot. Jalen Green, you mentioned the injury. He was pretty bad before that. Şengün's been very solid.
Yep.
And I thought Amon was great. I thought Amon was the best player on the floor last night, besides maybe Van Vliet. But I thought that they were very good. I had the Curry alt under points.
It's great.
That was never a doubt. That worked out. They pulled everyone early. He had 13, I think. Butler did nothing. Draymond did nothing. Nobody did anything for the starter. Shout out to Moody, though, who played well off the bench for Golden State. Anyway, nothing else to really add. Once again,
Kuminga still didn't get any burn.
Well, Kuminga was sick, apparently, so he was ruled out for the game. So he had an illness. And Kerr, I'm sure, was thrilled didn't have to play Kuminga. But the point is, Kuminga was not available either. So nice job by Houston. We'll talk about maybe a bit more X's and O's from Game 5 in the Game 6 preview coming out. I think it's tomorrow. But either way, point is, that's going to wrap it up for the 2 games on Wednesday. Now it's time to move on into the 2 games here for Thursday. Before we get into the 2 games, though, a reminder that you can help support the network by subscribing to the YouTube channels of each podcast and leaving a 5-star rating and a review on Spotify or Apple. But once again, all the content's free. take a second to show some support by leaving a 5-star rating and a review, plus subscribe to the channels. Plus, a reminder that we are brought to you by EdgeJuice, the first ever bank account built for bettors, ensuring that all gambling transactions are approved. No usage fees, no minimum balance, earn cashback rewards, 100% approval for all betting deposits. Sign up today at edgejuice.bet, promo code SGPN. Deposit $25 and EdgeJuice will match the deposit. It's edgejuice.bet, promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by NYRA Bets. It's Derby Week at SGPN. Make sure to check out our horse racing podcast, Notorious OTB, for all of your picks. Plus, get in on the action of the most exciting 2 minutes in sports with NYRA Bets. Sign up today and boost your Derby bankroll with a $25 free bet and a $200 deposit bonus with promo code SGPN25. Join now and claim your $25 free bet, a $200 deposit match bonus at nyrabets.com/SGPN25. MyBookie.ag also sponsoring the podcast because they're the place in every sport. They have the NBA playoffs, the NHL playoffs, they have the baseball card, they have the UFC cards, whichever sport you can really think of, MyBookie has for you. But a reminder, they also are available in a ton of locations. You can use it if your state does not legalize sports betting yet. You can also use crypto for lightning fast payouts and easy deposits. Head to MyBookie.ag, promo code SGPN for 100% deposit match up to $1K. Terms and conditions apply. MyBookie.ag, promo code SGPN. Welcome back, everyone, to the NBA Gambling Podcast. Finished going through the 2 games for Wednesday. Time to move on into the 2 upcoming games here for Thursday. 2 teams facing elimination. In fact, one team is at home facing elimination. Both of them are, actually. So you're looking at a pretty small number for one of the games, and you have a pretty large number for the second game. The totals, though, are basically the same. First game, Knicks against Pistons. Now, for this game, the Pistons we saw win in MSG. Kind of a similar script to what we saw in the Knicks series against the Sixers last year, where they had a chance to win at home in the Garden, didn't do it, and we saw the Knicks last year close it out on the road in Philly. We'll see if they close it out on the road in the Pizza Arena on Thursday night. Pistons, though, looking at the injury report, Isaiah Stewart is questionable, and Ivy is out. As for the Knicks, we know Brunson's banged up, but he's playing. It's Thibodeau. Everyone's playing. We know everyone's going to play. Now, for the actual ref report, have to at least mention it because of the fact that it is an elimination game. We still have no extender. So I'm kind of disappointed here that Scott Foster's still on the shelf. But we have Tony Brothers, which is never fun, for this Detroit game, along with Ed Malloy and Mark Lindsay. So no Scott Foster, but we know Tony Brothers can also be a really, I'd say, interesting ref to follow, not in a good way. They will be doing this game. So I'll ask you, Pistons laying 1.5 at home. They're expected to force a Game 7. Momentum's on their side. Then again, momentum really hasn't been a thing in this series because neither team can win a home game, especially Detroit. Do we think Detroit finally wins a home game, or do we think the Knicks win this in 6?
Yeah, I like the Pistons in this game. I think that they just got to continue to do what they do. They've been the better team in this. I don't think it's been close, to be honest with you. I think they've been the better team in this series. It's debatable if it should be like over or at worst, Pistons up 1 game, ready to close them out here. So I think it's pretty simple of what they got to do. Apply the pressure on the Knicks, make Brunson dribble from half court. I like the extended pressure, but just try to do it without foul. I know Asar had a good game as well in the last game, but the difference was he wasn't in foul trouble. In the previous games, he'd have been in foul trouble and was kind of messing up his rhythm. So I think he got to do a good job of defending without fouling, which they did last game. At home, I think they obviously want to get this one for their fans who haven't had one in quite some time. But I think the Knicks are a little bit too banged up here. Short rest, travel. I don't know what the issue is with Brunson, but it seems like every time he falls, that ankle is messed up. And you saw the Josh Hart.
I think that's the issue. It's the ankle.
Yeah, and then you can see Josh Hart with the issues he's been having. Mm-hmm. And I mean, to be honest, we saw them have a good game. We talked about Mitchell Robinson have the game of his life. Cat's been making timely buckets. As well as OG played well, and he hadn't played well since I think game 1 or 2. So they got some contributions, and they still just lost, and that just goes to show how good the Pistons have been in this series. They haven't shot the ball well. Beasley woke up a little bit, still room for some improvement there. Hardaway was off as well. So I think they put together a full, complete effort here. They have to execute down the stretch, which has been the Achilles heel in this series. But overall, man, I think they've been the better team. I think they'll show that. I think they'll continue to show that tonight. I think they win and cover this number.
Yeah, I think I'm going to agree with you. I think it's going 7 for the series. I had Knicks in 7 when the series started, so once again, I'm a bit biased because that was exactly what I expected in the series. Chaos. So that's all we'd get. You could argue the Knicks were supposed to win the series comfortably. then you remember Tibbs is the head coach. And it's never easy with Thibodeau. So I'm not surprised they punted a game here or there. Detroit, though, should have already been up in the series because that loss in game 4 was pretty embarrassing. But the point is Detroit had the Knicks kind of dead to rights there in game 4. Brunson went to the locker room. You were looking at the Pistons being up double digits. They had a blunder at the end of the third quarter where Schroeder had a free layup. He passed it to Hardaway, and they didn't get the shot off on time, which was a free 2 points they wasted. Turned out to matter. Then they also, of course, had the no call at the end, which should have been a foul, and they probably should have won the game. So Detroit, I think, should be up in the series right now. I think most people feel that way, but that's not, how it works. Right now, we're 3-2 Knicks. But I do think Detroit has basically won 2 straight games. I think they've looked pretty good. And I think you're looking at the Pistons who, I don't want to say solve this Knicks team because both teams offensively are very painful to watch. But I do think Detroit is starting to find some openings. And if Asar can avoid foul trouble, his athleticism is a serious problem for the Knicks. And when you're looking at the foul trouble, which comes with every single game because Brunson's diving on the floor half the time, Asar, though, can give Brunson a lot of issues if the fouls are not being called. And if you're looking at Asar's athleticism on the boards, whether it involves rim running, whatever you want to use him for, they have utilized Asar very well for a guy that can't shoot. They've been using him a lot to clean up the glass. They've been using him a lot for layups, for lob threats. They've been doing a good job of actually using his skill set to help with the offensive production. And the fact that Cade's a great passer, even though he didn't win Most Improved Player, is definitely, I'd say, a solid combo because Cade's vision's great. The turnovers can be a bit of a problem, but it's fine. I do think that Cade has been coming through in big moments. He had a triple-double in the last home game. They lost anyway. But the point is, I like how he's finding his teammates. Beasley still can't shoot. He's on Twitter every day, but he still can't shoot.
He is.
Hardaway Jr. was awful last game. They won anyway. So there is at least an option for one of those two guys to give you some solid shooting. Duran's been great on the boards.
Great.
I mean, the Knicks did win the last game in Detroit because Brunson went crazy on the painkillers, and Cat made a bunch of threes in the parking lot. So that's why they won the game. I think the Knicks kind of got, I don't want to say bailed out by high-end talent, but it felt like the Knicks were lucky to escape with that win last time out. The Pistons, though, have not won a home game in a long time. Daquan's mentioned they have not actually won a playoff game in about 17 years.
Yeah.
Please don't go 0-3 at home. I'm just asking you, please win a home game.
Yeah.
That's all I'm asking
I'm rooting for him.
If you lose in 7, I can live with that, but please win a home game. Like, please, for the sake of the fan base.
Right.
I'm sure Spike Lee will be sitting courtside, no matter how much they try to keep every ticket domestic. Spike Lee will be there. There's a Godfather offer that'll give somebody to actually get the tickets. But the point is, I'll go with Detroit in this game. I think that right now the momentum's in their favor. Brunson might have to go Superman again, and I question how injured he actually is. We'll see what happens. But if Asar's out of foul trouble, he will make Brunson work for a lot of points. Brunson still might go for 30 because he's Brunson. But on a bad ankle, if you're having to put that much effort into scoring, and we know Tibbs is never going to sit the guy, because you have a chance to basically clinch the series and get some extra rest. If Brunson plays 40-something minutes on a bad ankle, that can go really poorly. And you mentioned Josh Hart being banged up. We know he's not much of a shooter anyway. If his energy is even slightly off, that's a big deal too.
Right.
Bridges might vanish again. OG is going to be guarding Cade, so you might wonder about his stamina. Detroit's starting to figure some things out. And Thibodeau hasn't really made any adjustments all series. Robinson was great in Game 5. I'll dare him to go for a double-double off the bench again in Game 6. I'm taking Detroit. I think Detroit's found some things. I think they are, of course, going to have a crazy atmosphere, which has not really factored in too much in the series. But I do think it's going to factor in for Game 6. I think we're going 7. But Thibodeau, I think, has really not done much in the series. I don't think Bickerstaff's been that good either. But at least he's trying some new things.
Oh, please stop with the Ron Holland minutes. Stop, please.
Holland can't shoot.
Just leave him. Just leave him.
If you want to use Holland for your de facto enforcer while Isaiah Stewart's injured, sure. But with Stewart back in the lineup, you can't use Holland because Holland's going to give you some toughness, but he has no offensive talent. He's a good athlete. He can't shoot.
Bro, he's playing him with Asar, Jalen Duren, and they play Dennis Schroeder and they play Cade.
You have 3 non-floor spacers, and Schroeder's 3-point shooting is, I'd say, streaky at best.
That is horrible. That's horrible. Just stop. I would rather than play Marcus Sasser.
Sasser can at least shoot.
He can at least defend. He can defend as well. So
I agree with you about Holland, though. The point that I'm trying to say is both coaches have really not been good in the series. Bickerstaff's at least been trying newish things, mostly with the Stars' usage. Then again, he was in foul trouble in a lot of games. They couldn't really use him. But I like how they've kind of unlocked the Star offensively as the series has gone on, and Duran's found his role. Thibodeau hasn't done anything this entire series. I can't think of a single thing Thibodeau's done. He might pull McBride entirely because Deuce can't hit a shot, and he's been doing nothing on the court. I think it's, once again, a pretty underwhelming coaching matchup, but it seems like Bickerstaff's at least trying to adjust. Thibodeau's doing nothing. Give me Detroit in this game for the side. Total, I think I'm on the under. I think 213.5 is too high. I'll go with the under.
Yeah, I agree with that, especially if Isaiah Stewart's back. That's going to slow the game down even more. And he'll be able to better defend or help defend Cat, and that'll keep Tobias out of foul trouble because Tobias has been in foul trouble a couple of games as well.
I don't blame Tobias though. He's being asked to guard a 7-footer. He's trying his
right,
best
but he's doing a decent job though. I mean, he's doing a decent job. Cat's hitting the shots that Cat are hitting are just unbelievable. So I don't want to take that away from him, but Tobias has been good this series, and people gave him a lot of shit, rightfully so. But he's been good this series on both ends of the floor. So credit to him for that. And I think Isaiah Stewart, if he's able to come back and just give you 12 to 13 minutes, I think that's just enough to kind of keep the Pistons fresh defensively, throw some different looks that the Knicks haven't seen, and maybe get Cat in foul trouble. And once he gets in foul trouble, then it's just ISO Brunson every play. So yeah, I like the under as well.
Yeah, definitely could work out too. But I think I like Detroit for this game. Anyway, before we get into any of the, I'd say, breakdown for the Nuggets and Clippers game, I got to talk about the Clippers again. All right, sure. We are brought to you by our sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. You can play there and pick them. Chance 100 times your money. You could also use different sports for entry, the NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, MLB, etc. Point is when you sign up for a new account with Underdog Fantasy. Use the promo code NBSGPN to get a special pick and a first-time deposit offer up to 1K more cash on fantasy promo code NBASGPN. We're also rated by Rhythm because they're the home of bet picks and props. They're also available for the NBA playoffs and the MLB prop market with Rhythm. You can build your own model, which is very easy to do. You can also try it for free for a week by using their 7-day free trial. When you do sign up for your account, you can use one of the two amazing deals. They have a monthly discount and annual discount. 25% off the monthly deal with promo code SGPN25, 50% off the annual deal with promo code SGPN50. That's Rhythm, promo code SGPN25 or SGPN50. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RATHMM. Welcome back, everyone, to the NBA Gaming Podcast. Finished breaking down the Game 6 between the Knicks and the Pistons. Time to move on into the Nuggets and Clippers game. Clippers laying 6.5 after losing 2 straight games to Denver. The over-under is at 212.5. For the injury report for this game, Denver and the Clippers right now are at full strength. So it seems like whoever's injured is going to play anyway, so nobody's listed. I'll ask you, though, because the Clippers have a very good home court advantage. Didn't matter in Game 4, but the Intuit Dome has been very impressive, and I think the Clippers had one of the best home records ATS all season. However, didn't work out in the last home game. Denver has complete control of the momentum. Murray had a masterclass game, a vintage Murray game. Joker had a triple-double again. Felt like the Clippers didn't want to be there in Game 5, and they were lethargic. They got beat to every loose ball. They were out of sorts. Harden had more turnovers than field goals. Harden sucked in Game 5. Kawhi almost had a triple-double, and nobody noticed at the time because the Clippers were down 20 basically the entire game. But I'm going to ask you, because it is put up or shut up time because the Clippers can go home if they lose this game. However, having said that, I think 6.5 is crazy. Because the Clippers right now, yes, I understand that the urgency will be there. And we did see Denver the last time they were up 3-2, blowing it and losing in 7 to Minnesota. This Clippers team is still not wired properly. And maybe Harden shows up for this game, maybe not. Kawhi was putting up Kawhi numbers. I wish he was more aggressive. They really could use 30 from Kawhi on any given game, but the main thing I want to talk about is the defense.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't guard anybody in the entire Game 5. Murray was walking into wide open threes. Joker didn't even have to shoot. He had a 13-point triple-double, but everyone was wide open that entire game. I'll ask you for this game. Do you think 6.5 is too large? I get the home court advantage and the overall motivation, but damn, the Clippers look horrible right now. I don't want to lay 6.5 with this game.
Yeah, I think it's probably about right just from the season long, not season long, but from the series long betting price and just how things have been going. I think it's about right. It just probably seems a little bit higher just because of the way they've been playing the last game and probably like a game and a half, I guess, if you count that first half, because they were really good in that second half of the of game 4. But I mean, I think the Clippers are just going to turn. I don't think they have a switch to turn on, but I think they'll turn their energy back up and turn their effort back up, because you mentioned it. Like, I think it had everything to do with effort. I don't think it had anything to do with X's and O's.
They were
think
moving
the
in
game
slow
plan,
motion out there. The Clippers just looked like they didn't want to be there.
right, and it looked like they were up 3-1, and it was like, oh, we got 3 chances. We got 3 chances to win one, basically. So I didn't like that, but I think they'll revert back to their ways of what they looked like earlier in the season. I think Kawhi will play a little bit more assertive. I think the issue with Kawhi is that he's not aggressive consistently throughout the series.
100%.
He's picking his spots and being aggressive, but I think he has to put together a full performance, especially if James is not going to be the game 1, game 2 James Harden. Like, if he's not going to be that specific James Harden, then Kawhi has to be more assertive. And I think Zubac's been the most consistent player in the series on both ends.
For the rest, that's not a good sign. No offense to Zubac, that is not a good sign.
Yeah, absolutely. That's true, especially when you got 2 Hall of Fame level Hall of Fame players on that roster in front of him. So I do think that they'll come out with a little bit more assertiveness, a little bit more urgency, similar to what we saw with the Rockets. Now, I'm not sure if it's going to be that big of a gap, but I do expect them to come out and play with more energy and effort, and I expect the defense to pick up, which is why I love the under in this game. I think the Clippers are going to control the tempo. I think they'll come out and force the Nuggets to play from behind, force other guys to make shots. Now, Westbrook, you're gonna live with it. You got the good Westbrook in game 5. So now, hey, let's see if we can do it again. I'll just keep following that game plan and let the law of averages do their thing. So I like the Clippers. I like the under. I think the Clippers win by double digits, to be honest with you.
Okay, so once again, this is what the Clippers should do. I'm tired of picking the Clippers to actually do what they're supposed to do, because I thought they'd win the series. I think they're the better team, but there is a disconnect, whether it involves the star players, whether it involves Ty Lue. They just look like they're getting out-coached, and it looks like Denver, I don't want to say it's figured them out, but it feels like Denver right now is just playing harder. And I don't know if you can actually coach effort. It just feels like Denver realizes the stakes, and the Clippers are coasting like it's a regular season game, like it's a regular season series. It just feels like the Clippers right now are reverting back to what they always do in the postseason, which is kind of turtling in the big moments. And that's what happened in the last couple games. I mean, we've seen Harden a no-show basically 2 games in a row. Even the game that they ended up losing on that buzzer beater, he only scored 15 points. He had 11 assists, 4 rebounds, so his assists were pretty good. But last game, he had 11 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists. He had more turnovers than made shots. He had 4 turnovers, and he was 3 of 9 from the floor. Harden's been a mess lately when it comes to scoring. Defensively, they're in shambles. Kawhi's still too passive. Zubac's been fine. I think you bank Zubac for about 15 and 10, which I think's fine, but it just feels like Denver, if Murray's going to play like that, the series is over. Like, if Murray's going to play that well and Denver's going to get a bunch of wide open looks the entire game, the Clippers are dead. The question is, do I think the Clippers actually show up for this game at home, or do I think they keep rolling over? To be honest, a rollover wouldn't shock me, because it would kind of fit the entire Clippers franchise identity of just no-showing playoff games in big spots. Harden might play well. I'm skeptical. I'll say no for this one. The question is, do I think Kawhi can actually carry this team to a win? He can, but defensively, they have to scrap the game plan and start from scratch, because that was embarrassing in Game 5. I'll go Denver in this one, mainly because I admitted on the podcast I'm never betting on the Clippers again for the rest of the season. So I can't take the Clippers. I have banned myself from doing so. So it's Nuggets or pass for me. The total's interesting because I agree in theory the Clippers should slow the pace and it should be more physical. The problem is, once again, I don't actually trust the Clippers to do what they're supposed to do. Because if they did, they probably win the series already. I think they're significantly more talented than Denver. And yet Denver has an identity. They're actually playing through their main 2 guys. You could argue Joker's the real coach. But Adelman, I think, has done a very good job in a very short amount of time. And I think that in hindsight, the firing him alone actually made some sense. And it looks like it's paying immediate dividends. I'm not picking them to win the title. They can win a round, though. I think Ty Lue's been a mess all series. I think the Clipper supporting cast are playing hard. Harden's not. and it's alarming when you notice it on television. But I'll go with the Nuggets here. Think they could have won this game. Maybe similar to the Lakers game last night, where you just see the Lakers, who are supposed to show up with energy, supposed to show up with a purpose, and they come out flat. I think that could happen in this game too. I'll go with Denver in this one. I just trust them a bit more right now. I'm Benedicting, but it's mostly just how bad the Clippers have looked the last couple games. It's just, even the game where they lost in a buzzer beater, they were down by like 20 at home. It's rough. I'll go with Denver in this game. I think they've solved this Clipper defense. And Los Angeles offensively, I don't really know what they're doing. So either way, I like Kawhi over points instead of taking the Clippers. If they're going to win this game, Kawhi needs about 30. So I'll go with Kawhi over on his points if I had to go for a way to pivot off of the Clippers to cover the spread. But I got nothing else to add. Anything else you want to add for this game?
No, that's it. I think we pretty much hit it.
So there we go. Point is, though, we'll see how many Game 7s we actually get. We have a chance to get 2 if the home teams win tonight. So hopefully we end up getting a couple of Game 7s. Of course, you also have the Houston series against Golden State, which could go 7 as well. So we'll see if we can get any Game 7s, but either way, point should be a fun basketball card here on Thursday, and hopefully does live up to the hype. Anyway, a time for the actual lock and dog plays for the show. Lonte, to go first, what are going to be your lock and dog plays for the Thursday games?
Yeah, so for the lock, I hit one yesterday, so I'm going to go right back to it. We're going to go first quarter, Detroit Pistons minus a half. That's at minus 101. You probably can find even money somewhere else if you shop around. I think that's at Pinnacle was 101. So shop around, find the best price. I mean, that's a good price, but just make sure that you don't find better. I think Detroit comes out. They haven't played a first quarter well at home. I think they've trailed in both of those games that they played at home. So I think that this one, they have to come out firing, make the Knicks play from behind, make them feel a little bit of pressure, and see if they crack. Test Brunson's ankle, test Hart, whatever his injury is, make the other guys beat you. And I think you're going to get some better performances from Tim Hardaway Jr. I think you're going to get better performance from Malik Beasley, which will lead me into my next. It's the same game. We're going to go with the alt threes for Malik Beasley. We're going to take. Let's take 5 at plus 380. I think he'll have a breakout game here tonight. I think he'll be the reason that they win this game. So Malik Beasley plus 380 to make 5 threes.
Does it make you feel better or worse that he tweeted this morning? He said it's a whiteout. So get your white shirt ready for going to.
I feel great. I'm gonna change my shirt after. I'm gonna change my shirt after the show.
There you go. I wonder if Beasley's gonna get a sponsorship from FanDuel or DraftKings for all the money he's made them over the past week and a half. But either way, Beasley needs a good game here.
Yeah.
Let's put it
that way.
I
think he'll get it tonight.
Either way, for my lock, I went for the Lakers first quarter yesterday and they no-showed it. I went for Detroit first half in Game 3. That didn't work out either. You know what? I'll just go with Detroit full game.
Yeah, I like it.
I am picking a Game 7. I think that right now the Knicks are starting to regress a bit, whether it involves the Brunson injury or not. But like most Thibodeau seasons, feels like the team is crawling to the finish line, and we're only in the first round, but forget about that for a second. This team just feels very injured, and it feels like Detroit is starting to, I don't want to say solve this team because the game was close in Game 5, but it feels like Detroit's actually made some strides recently, and the Knicks feel like they're just trying the same thing over and over again, hoping that their star power can bail them out. I like how Detroit's played. I like the energy. Hopefully Asar's out of foul trouble in this game. But for the sake of the actual play, give me Detroit money line at minus 120. Detroit basketball. Let's win some games here. Minus 120. Let's force a Game 7.
Best intro in the biz, the countdown.
It is.
Electric.
So, once again, Detroit basketball. Let's get the job done here. For my dog, you know what? I've had enough of this damn team. Give me the Nuggets on the money line. I just think the Clippers shouldn't be laying 6.5. I think plus 230 is a very good price. I understand the argument of the Clippers being back at home. Denver has a game in their back pocket. After that Timberwolves last year, the Timberwolves series, you really can't afford to punt Game 6 because they lost that game by about 50. Then they lost Game 7 at home. The Nuggets, I think, want to end this as quickly as possible. And I think you're looking at Denver right now clicking. Murray looks healthy again. He looks fantastic. Joker's been great. You're looking at Porter Jr. and Gordon playing well. And the Clippers, even Westbrook was great last game, which means he might be terrible tonight.
Yeah.
But the Clippers bench has been okay. You're looking at Harden, though, who I'm picking to disappear like he always does in big games. So I do think I'll dare Harden and the star players for the Clippers to actually put the team on their backs, which they've just not been willing to do in the series so far, besides Kawhi in Game 2. Give me the Nuggets. I think the value is there. Give me the Nuggets money line at plus 230 as my dog. Anyway, time for the actual Underdog Fantasy entry. I actually posted one last night if you want a bonus play on the SGPN Twitter account. But I'll ask you, Lonte, what do you like for the potential options for your entry?
I know I went with Beasley, but let's go with the other game. I'm trying to figure out. You like Kawhi, so you want to put Kawhi up there?
God damn it. Yeah, sure. Kawhi,
I mean,
please.
you brought it up.
I know. I trust Kawhi a lot more than Harden. So, yeah, we'll go Kawhi at 24.5. Unless you want to throw in rebounds or something like that, because he had an almost triple-double last game.
Yeah, I like his rebounds if you want to go PR.
He's had actually 9+ rebounds in 3 straight. So, I don't mind the PR if you want to do that instead.
Yeah.
His PR is at 32.5. Yeah, I'll go with the higher on that.
Yeah. I like Joker higher to points.
Okay. Just hoping they overcorrect to Murray and you end up getting Joker on some islands.
Well, yeah, I think they'll pretty much revert back to what they did in games 1 and 2 and just play him straight up as you can, send the late help, and then live with the results afterwards.
Okay. So Joker points, by the way, is at, I see 27.5.
Yeah, I think he'll have 30 tonight. Yep.
Actually, let me see if it's 28.5 on Underdog. It's either going to be 26.5 or 20. Okay, so it's 26.5.
That's perfect.
On Underdog. That's fine. And then for the last one, we'll go to the Pistons game against the Knicks. Anything you like from this game in particular? I know I mentioned a couple plays on the video I made for Twitter, but
what did you have?
I had Schroeder lower on his assists.
I like Cat's threes. I've been betting at every game this series. He wasn't as aggressive early on, but as of late he's been shooting from the parking lot. He's been hitting.
It's only 1.5, so I can get behind that too.
Yeah, let's do it.
Actually, is it 1.5 or is it 2.5?
It's usually 1.5. It's probably just juiced a little bit.
No, I know. I'm just trying to see if it's listed here. There's a chance Underdog just doesn't have it.
Oh, okay.
I don't think I see it. Unless it's listed at the way bottom, but I have to see if it is.
Yeah, it's all good. We can pivot if you want to go. I like Duran, PR.
I think I'll ignore the points because his points have been pretty horrible. I'd rather just take the rebounds.
What is it, 11.5?
So his rebounds, because his points are at 11.5. Honestly, I might even like the lower on that because Stort's back. He might get less minutes. His rebounds are at 12.5. Do you want to go for Duran lower points?
Yeah, we can go that.
It's at 11.5 for reference. He has scored less than 10 in 2 straight games.
Yeah,
and Stewart is back, so he might end up getting a little bit less minutes.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So I can go with that. Yeah. So once again, the 3-pick Underdog entry for the games on Thursday. We're going to go with Joker, higher 26.5 points. Going to go with Kawhi, higher 32.5 points and rebounds. And we're going to go with Duran, lower on his points at 11.5. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for this episode. Back once again, the two of us for Friday. A reminder, we're going to have 2 episodes on Friday, one for the actual games for Friday night, and then one on Friday night for the Saturday games, because we might only have 1 game on Saturday, but still better than nothing. Anyway, anything else you want to add, Lonte, before we officially end the show?
That's about it, man. Hopefully we have some good games tonight.
Yep, same here. Anyway, till next time, good luck to all of you and all of